Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Salim Akhtar Malik, your host at the Observation Post channel. On this channel, we discuss issues of national and international importance, security matters, and important events from the military history. You can interact with me at my channel by giving your views and comments, which I regard in very high esteem. The transcripts of my videos are available gratis at my Twitter address, which is at SalimAkhtar53. In this session, we'll be talking about the London Club. Now, this video is a remake of an earlier video on the same topic, but I had considered that video uh, as not technically perfect, and it had some weaknesses, hence the remake. So, what was the London Club about? Let us go back to December 1971. In her official speech at the Indian Parliament after the fall of Dhaka, Indira Gandhi had made a fleeting reference about the situation in Balochistan, which according to her was not normal. Uh, by saying so, she had implicitly implied Indian overt and covert interference in the affairs of Balochistan. The statement by Indira Gandhi has since been dubbed out or deleted from the official Indian records for reasons known to them. Probably they didn't want to own the statement by Indira Gandhi so soon after the 71 war, in which she had implicitly, as I said, threatened this, to interfere in Balochistan. However, this can be verified if the transcripts of All India Radio uh, on her speech are available. Uh, and this is possible only if the transcript has not been deleted as well. The Soviet leadership had also warned Bhutto that in case a 71 like situation emerged again, the Soviets would do exactly the same thing, or they would behave exactly in the same manner as they did during the Bangladesh war. Now, this they told him, rather, they admonished him when he met the Soviet leadership on assuming power. After he had assumed power as the president and Pakistan's first civilian martial law administrator, Bhutto had made an official visit to the Soviet Union. So he went to Moscow, where they warned him. And this warning was reported on the media, both electronic as well as print media. If we look back, we find that at that time, the Soviet Union and India had embarked upon a plan to further fragment Pakistan, to further break up what had remained of Pakistan in the form of West Pakistan. At that time, Indo-Pakistan rivalry had shifted to a lower dimension, with the Soviet Union standing firmly behind India. They had been planning to destroy what was left of Pakistan or to weaken it further through following an indirect approach. That is what we know these days as the uh, fifth generation war. So at midnight on 9th February 1973, the government of Pakistan claimed that it had intercepted a consignment of Soviet arms, and the consignment was sent to the Iraqi embassy at Islamabad. Thereafter, a team of Pakistan Army's Special Services Group and Pakistan Rangers, which is a paramilitary force, they raided the Iraqi embassy at Islamabad and found a large cache of Soviet arms and ammunition, along with a large amount of cash, which was reportedly going to be distributed among the insurgents who were gathering in Baluchistan under the banner of a, a hitherto unknown organization, the Balochistan Liberation Army. So that was the situation in 1973. We take you back to 1970. The London Club during 1970 was a group of students belonging to rich families from Pakistan's Sindh and the Punjab provinces who had gone to London. They were sent by their parents to London for higher studies. As we find out now, we come to know that these students had been doing everything at London except studying, the purpose for which they were sent for higher studies by their parents. Bored from a life of luxury and smitten by the ghost of Che Guevara, these students had left their studies, most of them, and had returned to Pakistan, straight to Balochistan. Mind you, it was 1970 or thereabouts. At that time, the general elections in Pakistan had yet to take place, and there was no insurgency in East Pakistan, which started after the 1970 general elections. There was no insurgency in East Pakistan, and there was no insurgency in Balochistan. The insurgency in Balochistan started in February 1973 or thereabouts. So, what were they doing? Who was sending them to Balochistan from London? Was there a grand design? Now, I'm going to read out to you an excerpt from an interview which was given by Malik Asad Rahman, one of the members of the London Club. Malik Asad Rahman was son of a retired Chief Justice of Pakistan, Justice S.A. Rahman. His father had sent Asad Rahman to London to study architecture, but he, along with other students of his group, had left his studies and came back to Pakistan, that is straight to Balochistan. In his interview, which he had given some years back to a Lahore newspaper, he said, and I quote, "At London, there were around 25 Pakistani boys and girls from different cities who had formed a study group. There were some Indian students as well in the study group. We used to study all kinds of literature, Marxist, The study of these literatures gave us an understanding of humanity, human rights, and understanding of exploitation of poor by the ruling elite. That is what drove me to Balochistan. Now, one Najam Sethi was also a member of the London Club. He was one of the leading lights of this club. He was a leading light in the sense that he had a lot of influence over these armchair revolutionaries. Now, there are pictures of Najam Sethi available on the internet in which he is shown uh, with a rifle in his hand, having a group photo with some Baluchi separatists. Allegedly, the separatists were from the Balochistan Liberation Army. That is a picture which is usually shown on the internet if you search. However, the people who know the events claim that it is a fake picture. Najam Sethi had photo sessions with the Balochistan Liberation Army or the separatists who were associated with it, but he never fought with them. He was, uh, as I said, an armchair revolutionary. Nevertheless, he was associated with this separatist group. Did the members of the London Club act on their own or were pawns in a greater game? As the events proved, uh, they were there during during 1970, whereas the insurgency in Balochistan started in 1973. So obviously there was a grand design behind their presence in Balochistan in 1970. Now these members of the London group, after the insurgency in Balochistan was finished during the rule of General Ziaul Haq, they came back to their hometowns. Most of them belonged to Lahore and bigger cities like Karachi, were the sons of feudals, sons and daughters of feudals and big businessmen. So, except for one person whose name was Dilip Das, he was a Marxist from Sindh. He was killed. Rest of them had been living and are still living under the very nose of the law, unscathed. How did such groups of overfed and pampered brats fit into the overall picture? It is a well-known fact that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, in connivance with Major General Akhtar Hussain Malik, General Officer commanding 12th Division of the Pakistan Army, had connived to start the 1965 war. He had connived with the general to start the 1965 war with India. And for that purpose, he had misled Ayub Khan into believing that sending infiltrators into Indian held Kashmir would not result in India attacking Pakistan across the international border. For this act of Ayub Khan, that is for waging war against India, by after having been taken for a ride by Bhutto, the United States had become angry with Ayub Khan. So after the war ended, there was a agreement brokered by the erstwhile Soviet Union. In that agreement, peace was restored between the two countries, and the armies of both India and Pakistan went back to their pre-war locations. However, the United States had not forgotten uh, the what they call misdeeds of Ayub Khan, and they still wanted to punish him. It appears that in 1971, the strategic aims of both the United States as well as the Soviet Union had converged. We know about how the Soviet Union helped India in the breakup of Pakistan by concluding a treaty of peace and agreement with her, which was essentially a military pact. However, little is known, or even if it is known, we tend to ignore the role of the United States in the uh, Bangladesh war or the Bangladesh imbroglio. Excuse me. Henry Kissinger was reported as saying he had given an interview in which he admitted that the United States was not averse to East Bengal becoming independent, but it wanted it to happen in a peaceful manner. And he also claimed that he had prevailed, that is, Henry Kissinger had prevailed upon President Yahya Khan to grant independence to East Bengal somewhere in March or April 1972. We know that there was a plan for the balkanization of Pakistan, but then why did it not come to fruition? When I say balkanization of Pakistan, I mean the rest of Pakistan, that is, Pakistan, which was left after the separation of East Pakistan. So why didn't it come to fruition? Why didn't it um, happen? So I would like to remind my audience that the war has not ended, and the scheming and plans of Pakistan's enemies have also not ended. The war is still going on. This is all I wanted to say during this session. See you in the next video with some more news and with a fresh topic. Till then, bye bye.